gins, and josh powers. The cotton gin was a tool that farmers used to get seeds out of cotton. Previously, this took lots of time, but with the invention of the cotton gin, it made the production of cotton easier, making a cash crop in southern states like Georgia, South Carolina, and Virginia.
The Virginia dynasty was a collection of presidents who were elected from Virginia. This included Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, and James Monroe.
For the election of 1804, in the list of the election, Thomas Jefferson was re-elected. Although this is not especially important, it showed that the country agreed with him buying the Louisiana Purchase. Urbanization. This refers to the time period when people moved away from the countryside towards cities, which led to the development of skyscrapers.
The Louisiana Purchase was a piece of land purchased from Napoleon of France in 1803. This grant of land was a very controversial topic because it wasn't known if the president had the right to buy land. Thomas Jefferson ended up buying it because he believed in an agrarian republic, which this would endorse. Overall, this piece of land doubled our country's size at the time and led to much more. Lewis and Clark were two explorers paid by the government to go throughout the Louisiana Territory to discover what the area encompassed. They were very successful and discovered many new areas.
Sacagawea was an Indian who guided Lewis and Clark through the Louisiana Territory, acting as a medium between the Indians and the white men. John Marshall was the Chief Justice of the United States. His court opinions helped make the Supreme Court an equal branch of the government along with the legislative and executive branches. One of the most important factors of John Marshall is that he reinforced the principle of judicial review. Judiciary Act was created in 1789, and what it did was create our current system of courts with 12 regional courts and the one federal court. Although moderately changed throughout the development of the United States, it has kept our courts in great shape. Marbury v. Madison was a Supreme Court case reviewed by the Supreme Court. What was so important about this was that it outlined the right for the Supreme Court to use judicial review under Article 3.
Impressment was a tactic used by the British Navy during the early 1800s. This was an act by the British, boarding American ships and taking its sailors who were believed to be British stowaways. Although this was often the case, some of the people the British took were American citizens. These actions of the British were a major factor leading to the War of 1812. A major confrontation and an example of impressment was the British naval ship the Leopard, which took part in the impressment of sailors. This ship attacked an American ship searching for British deserters. This created much uproar in the U.S., and Americans began pushing for even more retaliation. The Chesapeake was the American ship that was attacked by the Leopard. This is also significant because the ship was badly damaged and only fired one shot before surrendering the ship, and the captain was severely reprimanded for this action.
The Non-Importation Act of 1806 was the U.S.'s first attempt to stop the impressment of U.S. sailors. It was established as an economic toll to the British instead of a militaristic one. All it did was place some restrictions on British goods. The Embargo Act of 1807 soon replaced this act.
The Embargo Act of 1807 was another measure to help stop the impressment of American ships. This created more stringent laws on the importation of British goods into America. It was also set up against the French, and it